again, everyone. Today I'm in Fort Dodge, Iowa, which is located approximately 100 miles north of Iowa's capital, Des Moines. And I'm just in the downtown area. This is Central Avenue. And it's a Saturday afternoon. It's about 4:30. It's a rather quiet day today. I was expecting quite a bit more people. Anyhow, just some background information on Fort Dodge. The city was founded as a U.S. Army fort in 1850. It was named after then Governor Henry Dodge. And Fort Dodge has a current population of approximately 24,900 people. And right now it looks like it's a bit of a ghost town. Not sure if there's a football game or something going on here. And quite a few of these buildings look empty and vacant. And that huge brick building over there, that looks rather interesting. Let's go check this out here. And I'm not sure what this building is or was, other than it's boarded up in the back, and it looks like it has a bunch of broken windows up on top. And it looks like at one time the ground floor used to be businesses, and maybe the upper floors could have been offices or even possibly condos, apartments. But looks like a very large vacant building just right here in downtown Fort Dodge. Anyhow, just continuing on, get back on Central Avenue. And just go over some more background information. So, rather small town here, 24,900 people. Median age of residents is approximately 37 years old. And let's see, if I just cross the street here, Trolley Center, I don't know what that is. And I actually just saw another rather interesting building just the next street over. Just gonna try to make a left here. Or actually, maybe I'll go up the street. Let's see, where was I? Per capita income, $29,000. And though that is lower than the national average, it is quite a bit cheaper to live here. The average price of a house in Fort Dodge is about $108,000. And if you look at the household income, which includes basically everyone in the whole house here in Fort Dodge, that would be $50,400. So your average household here is actually doing pretty well considering the low cost of living. And this street's a bit busier than the other one. And here's this building here. Just gotta check this out. Looks like it could almost be a bank, but it says church. Some sort of a church here. The pretty interesting looking building has a that large dome and that tower there in the back. And this is a First Methodist Church. And across the street, that looks like maybe an office building. And then there's this other church just directly across from that building, and this is a First Baptist Church. So just right in this area, you got these two pretty big churches. And it's a little bit breezy out here, so we're just gonna get back in the car, but pretty much have your pick and choose of what church you want to go to. And continuing on, just when I was walking back to my car, I saw another rather interesting looking building. Looks like it's just a couple blocks away. Just gonna go check that out. But so far, I was actually expecting Fort Dodge to be worse than it is, because it has a rather bad reputation. I think that's mostly because there is a state prison here in town, and it's actually not too far from here. It's maybe about 2-3 miles away. But except for a few vacant buildings, doesn't look all that bad here. Maybe I'm wrong. Just check out a few other areas, and there is that huge tower there in the back, and that is probably going to be another church. Just going to take a wild guess here, but that is a very neat looking building. This place is also just a ghost town too. There is nobody out here. And this building is in fact a church. It says Corpus Christi Church, established in 1881, and it is just a massive building. Must be at least 7-8 stories tall, and you can barely even get the whole building in the picture. And at the very top there is a cross on top of the building, and very well built church, old brick and concrete, well over 100 years old, and that's definitely a very cool building there. And this area here is just completely deserted. Not sure if it's because it's a Saturday, but this looks like this is a parking lot perhaps for this church. And then across the street here, this is a Catholic food pantry, and it says open till 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. so I just missed it. So I would take that to mean the Corpus Christi Church is also Catholic. That's pretty cool that they own basically this whole area over here. Anyhow, continuing on, just going to check out this residential area right behind the church, and then I'm going to drive over to the state prison, which is also pretty close by. And brings me back to what I was talking about earlier about the bad reputation of Fort Dodge. And crime here actually is not that bad. It is slightly above the national average at 29 incidents per 1,000 people. So it's not like Detroit or Harlem. It's not like they have completely out of control crime here. And I think overall, the city has a worse reputation than it deserves. It just doesn't seem like it's that bad. And even this area, like that's a pretty nice house there. The guy has it all fenced off in the front. Most of these houses, they look like they're being kept up. The yards are cut. There's some nice looking homes in this area here. Some of these houses are just huge too. This, let me see if I get a better picture of this one over here. That is just a huge Victorian house there. It's just about a 3-story house. And average price of a home, $108,000. So you can do, you can live here pretty cheaply compared to most places in the US. And of course, as far as jobs go, that might be a different story. From what I can tell, the largest employer here in town for Fort Dodge would be the prison. I believe they employ about 400 people. And just going to drive up here a little bit, see what else is going on. There's another interesting looking house. It's almost like after the White House with the large columns. And then that looks like that's another church building. It says Hawkeye Theater. And then that looks like another church. Let me pull over here. I'm starting to lose track of how many churches we've seen so far today. I believe this would be the third or maybe fourth one. And that says First Presbyterian Church. And the one next to it, that looked like a church, but that one is not. And then right around the corner here, here's another, that's also a church building. That also says First Presbyterian Church. So this place is like Church Central here. Get a better picture of this one over here. Nice brick church building there. Says worship services summer at 10 a.m. So come here tomorrow at 10 a.m. and maybe there'll be more people out perhaps. Anyhow, continuing on. Now off to the Iowa State Prison. And that's about 2 miles up the road. And I think that area could be a bit more rough than around here, because so far this doesn't look too bad. And just some more background information on Fort Dodge. See, 80% of the residents are white, 8% are Hispanic, and 6% are black, and 56% of residents are Republican. So that means most people here surprisingly voted for Trump, and that's pretty usual for most cities in Iowa. I think the entire state of Iowa is mostly Republican. But it's just when you get into kind of go ahead. It's just when you get into like the poorer areas, it's kind of surprising that most of the residents would be Republican. You would think it would be the opposite, but that's not necessarily the case. Looks like they're doing some road construction around here. And then that building off to the right says it's the county building. And directly ahead, that looks like another church there. Let's go check that out. That's a pretty neat looking building as well. That says Grace Lutheran Church. No parking. So I can't check that out any further, but this looks like an interesting area over here. Some pretty big houses. hardly even see that house with the 15-20 foot hedge around it, but some of these other ones, like that one up there on the hill, that looks interesting. Here's a pretty neat Victorian house. It's at least a 3-story house there. Huge houses here, at least 3,000-4,000 square feet. So I'm not sure, at one time maybe Fort Dodge was doing better than it is now, and this is where the well-off people live. That's a pretty cool house there. So there's certainly nicer parts to Fort Dodge. It's not run down or not by any stretch of the imagination. It seems to be, I don't know, pretty nice area. One thing I like about driving around Fort Dodge is there's hardly any traffic. Then again, with a town of 24,000 people, I guess you don't have to expect too much in the way of traffic jams and whatnot. But it seems like the downtown area where we were just at was built for more than 24,000 people. So I think what could happen is maybe people from the surrounding communities, like there's a lot of small towns, like farm towns that surround Fort Dodge, and maybe they come here to do their shopping and stuff like that, because it just seems like that's a much bigger business district than supports 24,000 people. Then on the other hand, quite a few of those stores did look like they were closed too. So and my map here says the prison is about 3 blocks up this street here, and you can't really see it. Must have it hidden behind all of these trees here. Just driving through, you really wouldn't know there was a state prison here. Sign says Fort Dodge Correctional Facility, so that would be it. Some of these houses look kind of interesting. Looks like there was a fire there. Hopefully everyone is okay with that. Visitor parking, and this would be the Fort Dodge prison, and then in the background there, you can see there's a large water tower. That's probably more than the prison needs. I take it that's for the whole city, but this would be where the prison is at, and you can see the barbed wire fencing, and it's got, what else does it have? I don't see any guard towers anywhere, but looks like there's a truck kind of going in circles in the back. Just a lot of barbed wire. Anyhow, some background information on the Fort Dodge prison. It was built in 1998 on 60 acres of land and currently houses approximately 1,300 inmates. And as I said before, this is one of the largest employers here in Fort Dodge. They employ approximately 372 people. And I'm just gonna go check out this residential area over here. This kind of looked a little interesting. Looks like someone's doing some tree work here. That guy's got a lot of stuff. And that looks like the end of the houses. It's just kind of a forest in here. And hello again, everyone. Just down the street from the Fort Dodge prison is the Fort Dodge Museum that they have here. And it looks like this is a replica of the old Fort Dodge. I don't believe it was the original fort that was built in 1850. Anyhow, it is supposed to be a museum and a depiction of life in the mid to early 1800s on the frontier. And I believe it's $10 per person to get in here and check this museum out. And if you are into early American history, this could be a good place to stop by and check out. And hello again, everyone. I'm about 10 miles outside of Fort Dodge, and I apologize if it's a little bit breezy out here on the prairie, but I just wanted to stop to check out this factory here. This is a Valero ethanol factory, and it's in a pretty good spot here, considering that it is just surrounded by mile after mile of these cornfields, and they process the corn into ethanol, and that is what goes into your car when you get gas next time at the gas station and you see the ethanol sticker. It's basically made from all this corn here, and I just found it kind of interesting, just out in the middle of nowhere, and they got this giant factory.